the rally that must not be named.
Hello and welcome to today's Daily Blitz. Now, as I'm sure you'll remember, back in 2016 when we had the Brexit referendum, the sell-off in the pound was quite pronounced, and as a result you had newspaper outlets all over the place saying that this was a very bad thing, that sterling falling was very bad for all British savers. This was clearly a karma for a bad political decision, and you saw a huge number of articles from all manner of mainstream outlets, including non-financial outlets, giving their tuppence worth on why exactly, the tuppence being worth a lot less was suddenly a very big issue. But interestingly, in recent months, a similar thing has happened, but you haven't heard any or almost none of those mainstream outlets commenting on it. Isn't that right?
That's right. So the pound has rallied since August by about 10%, which is actually more than it fell in the aftermath of the referendum, and yet nobody is talking about it. So as you can see from the chart, there are the two currency moves highlighted, but if you look at the Google Trends chart, it shows that these days there's almost no interest in anything to do with the pound to euro exchange rate, whereas back in 2016 it dominated the news.
Now, it really cannot be stressed enough that a 10% move in a developed currency is absolutely huge when it comes to the foreign exchange market. It's generally only in smaller currencies that you get such large moves. Now, as a result, after the 2016 referendum, you saw that big fall in the pound. You saw a lot of people saying that this was obviously a really bad idea. So in theory, now that we've had such a strong rally in the pound, you should be seeing the same people being quite jubilant, because if they believe, a weaker currency is really bad, then surely a stronger currency would be much better, right?
Yeah, that's what you'd think, but the question is what it means for investors in the stock market. And what we saw after the referendum is the FTSE 100 hit an all-time high. So, does this rally in the pound suggest that the FTSE 100 is going to get into some trouble? I would argue that it's going to undermine basically the FTSE 100 for a while, but there are other stocks outside the FTSE 100 that should do well as the pound rises.
And we have dwelt on that in previous Daily Blitz videos, but I think the key takeaway here is simply to remember and recognize that the pound can be used as a political football, and whenever somebody is using a movement in the currency market to justify a political position, you should be very cautious, and instead simply look at what the currency market activity is rather than what somebody is opining on it. But that's all for today, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and be sure to tune in next time.